Hello. We, uh, you know who we are.
And you are watching #Truth with Scott Larson.
Roll it.
Watch it all fall down around you now. Was it ever really worth it? Having your kingdom crumble to the ground because you never had the courage. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up.
What is the podcast that brings you the best interviews from the world of independent pro wrestling?
You are watching #Truth.
Join Scott Larson as he goes into the personal lives of some of the hottest up-and-coming wrestlers, as well as managers, referees, and promoters. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Giving you something to invest in from the world of professional wrestling.
And that's the
Yes,
#Truth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to #Truth. Tonight, we have the one, the only Olivia Devine. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Let's start off with the same question I ask every wrestler that ever comes on the show. How long have you been in the business, and who trained you?
Well, to be honest, and I usually don't tell a lot of people this just because the background wasn't the best part, but I've been technically wrestling for 12 years.
Okay.
But I was in a place that wasn't the best. And I was there for like 9 years before I realized I was being manipulated a little bit. So
Okay.
I basically had to get retrained. So the last about 4 years, I've been retrained with high spots. So technically 12 years, but I only claimed the last 4 just because I was properly trained.
Okay. Well, see, that's part of what #Truth is all about. And I'm glad you mentioned that and you're honest with us, because that's what we're trying to get all these young wrestlers to realize, that, sky's the limit now. You're seeing doors open now that you're being trained correctly, right?
Yeah. Plus, I stayed in the same place for a long time. I didn't know that, about traveling. And when I found out about it, they would tell me, "Oh, everything you learn, you can learn there." And I never knew that there was some school, they call them outlaw schools. I didn't realize that's where I was. I started wrestling when I was 20, and I was just so determined to do it. I didn't care where I was at. So, that's just kind of how that happened. But, I think things happen for a reason. And I ended up where I was at. I ended up being with High Spots, which is one of the best schools in North Carolina. And,
Yes.
I now see myself, prospering and getting out there, and just, I've been working hard.
So we'll just focus on the last 4 years, since that's where you want to do it. And I can deal with that. In the last 4 years, where is the let's say for you, what would be the best place? What would you say is the highest place that you've made it so far?
You mean like promotion?
Promotion. What is the best promotion? Where's that place that you went, dang, I can't believe I'm here?
I mean, that one's kind of hard to answer per se. I think the best promotion where I feel I was finally starting to get, good workers in front of me and actually allow me to grow, it's called Urban Combat Wrestling. That's in Asheville, North Carolina. And then after them, I did APW in Chester. I did WrestleForce. I feel like those 3 places really allowed me to grow and allowed me to just, have an opportunity to either showcase the skills I had or learn some new ones.
Now, being a woman in today's independent wrestling, and I know around our area, there are some organizations where it's all women, but for the most part, there aren't a lot of wrestling organizations that have a women's division. Are you finding that difficult to move around and to get hired at certain spots because of that?
Yeah, but honestly, a lot of that I found, it just in our area of the country is South Carolina.
Right.
The only reason why I even get licensed is because of WrestleForce and APW Chester. Like, outside of that, I haven't came across any promotions. I mean, I've wrestled some places in South Carolina too, so I ain't gonna say that, but I have came across a couple that just don't do women wrestling. I don't see where they book them. They'll have the whole flyer with everybody that's booked for that day, and it's only men. So a lot of them typically don't. And even the ones that do book women, sometimes they don't always book women. So
Right.
I found that a lot in South Carolina that, unless you're a big name in certain promotions too, that kind of also is that competing against a known name and a non-known name. So that's something I definitely ran into. Like North Carolina is a little bit easier, but again, your name really depends on how good the platform is going to be.
Right. I got you. And I've seen you around. I've seen you in many places. I see you all over Facebook. So I know you're putting yourself out there.
Oh yeah, I've been
I've been up and down your Facebook page today. Yeah, I was up and down. I wasn't stalking you, but I was up and down your Facebook page today for the show. And the first thing that caught my eye, the very first thing that's on your page, and I'm going to get to everybody's comments here in a second, is you have a 36-second clip where you were at OVW. Tell me about how OVW got in contact with Olivia Devine.
Well, actually, and this is why I say Urban Combat Wrestling, because I met Shane Chess, is his name's a referee. He refs there. And I had a good couple of matches there where he saw and he was impressed. I guess he was impressed. I was, I didn't know him like that. I only had met him a couple times. So I didn't know he was paying me that much attention. But, one day he just reached out to me and he just told me he put my name out and OVW was looking for more women. And I reached out to the person that ran the division out there and everything. And it just went from there. And, I've been trying to be able to come back and everything, but it was, it was exciting. It was nervous. When I got there, it was a long drive. It was 7 hours. Me and another person named is Jada Stone. We went together because, we both was coming from the same area and we drove up there. And, when I got there, everybody was very friendly. Like the locker room, even with the women, there was a lot of women because of the Rumble. It was, so there was more women than normal. But every woman that was there was very friendly. Like I didn't come across anybody with an attitude. No one was, making me feel like I need to walk on eggshells. I could be myself. I've never been in a locker room where I didn't feel nervous or awkward. Like in the beginning, it was kind of weird just because we didn't know each other. But like within the first 10 minutes, that was up the door. Like everybody was talking to everybody.
And to think, you were in a locker room with all these women, probably 30 or 20, correct? Somewhere around in there.
You talking about their ages?
No. I'm talking about how many women were in the locker room.
Yeah, it's probably about 15, 20.
15, 20 women.
Yeah.
And you guys, did it cross your mind? Because I know you put it up on your Facebook page, but has it hit you yet? You made history that night. You were a part of the first Ladies Royal Rumble at OVW. I mean, has that hit you yet?
I think in the beginning, I was just happy to even get an opportunity. But honestly, when I got that, I didn't even know it was going to be on live TV. I had no clue that this was live. So when I found out, I was like, oh, this is for real. Okay. I got real scared at that point.
Don't play.
Yeah, I didn't realize it, like Shane told me they do live TV on Thursdays. This was on a Saturday, so I just assumed that it was just a regular show. I didn't realize how big OVW really was. Like I knew it's past everything. I just didn't realize that's what it was now. So I was not prepared. However, I was prepared to perform. I just wasn't prepared to be on TV like that. So I would have had my best makeup on that. I didn't realize that.
Well, you don't have to have your best makeup on to go in there and destroy some women. And you did one particular, I mean, like I said, I'm going to get to the clip here right after our first commercial break. But the woman you took out, she's going to remember you for quite a long time. She was rubbing her nose for a while down there on the floor.
It'd be like that. But like I said, it was business, nothing personal.
That's it. It's just business, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it goes. I love that. Now, you talked about, you mentioned, being in the locker room and within a few minutes, it felt like home. Have you ever been in some locker rooms? And I don't want any name dropped or anything, but have you ever been in some locker rooms and again, you're a woman, not a lot of women out there. Have you ever felt uncomfortable in some places like you just didn't belong?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever been in a locker room where I didn't feel like I belong because there, I've never come across somebody that's necessarily mean to me. I think some people. One thing I realized when I started traveling out to different places that everybody can come off kind of awkward, and I
Right.
can be awkward too when I'm around people I don't know. So it was just more of an awkward, uncomfortable versus feeling like, watch my back. Somebody might do some type situation. I'm
Right.
not
Right.
scared of nobody. So anywhere I go, I'm not worried about it. But,
I know
I've
you drove
felt
up in the mountains for my show, and that was way up there in the mountains. I
yeah,
was even shocked, and you got out and you took over, man, and that was you did really good in that show. And again, I want to thank you for doing that. That made me feel really good. I wish you would have stuck around long enough to be in the picture of everybody after the show, but I realized, you probably had a long drive home and
Yeah,
and
I
other
had some family that was waiting on me, but Lazarus, that's who I wrestled. I enjoyed him. I've never wrestled him before, but I've met him several times. He was really nice. So, being able to work with him and actually, have somebody that knows what they're doing
right.
and, can help me. And there was moments where I probably messed up. He took care of me. I appreciate it. I had a really fun time out there. It was a long drive. It was about 2 hours, but
Yeah, it was a good drive. It was awesome. Let's get to some of these. Zach said, "Yo, what's up?" One half of one of the great tag teams in our area here. Sean Duffy said hello and good afternoon from Fallon, Nevada.
hey.
I'm still getting used to Sean Duffy, man. I still want to call you Ringsiders. Ron Emerson, who has his own podcast. Ron, you got to get Miss Olivia on your podcast, sir. He said, "What's up, Mr. Larson?" Hello, Mr. Devine.
How you doing?
Doug Masters, who will be on hashtag Truth in a couple of weeks, said, "Hello, brother. Ready for the show on February 7th. Thank you." Irvin Legend said, "Olivia, yes. Yes, there you go. Irvin's
Met him yet,
Irvin's
but
the man."
follow him. I haven't met him yet, but I know that we're Facebook friends.
Oh,
I don't think I've met him. I have. I apologize.
man. He is one heck of a guy. He's been on hashtag twice, and he told his whole story of how he his upbringing and everything, and it gets deep. It's deep.
Your microphone is kind of making weird sounds.
Is it?
Yeah.
Might be because of here. Let me close my door real quick. Is it still doing it now?
Yeah, he sounds like a robot.
I sound like a robot. Why do I sound like a robot? Let me
It
find
sounds
out.
like in and out and kind of scratchy.
Is that better?
No.
That better?
No, now you just sound lower.
Now I just sound lower.
I mean, you still sound like a robot, but you sound lower.
I wonder why. I have no idea. I was supposed to meet her at CMW show that got postponed. Okay. Am I still sounding horrible? Because this has never happened to me before. It's still something bad.
I don't know what happened.
Can you understand me?
Huh?
Can you understand what I'm saying?
A little bit now.
Let me.
Now I can't hear you at all. I still can't hear you.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
I hear you a little. You just sound really, really low. Why would this happen on my first time on here?
Hey, it's hashtag truth. Every time something always happens on my show. It's just sometimes that's the way it goes. Maybe one of my.
There you go. That's better.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's a lot better. Now you sound like you.
Okay, now my connect. It's my. I know where it's at now. Okay. Well, all right, here we go. Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, back to the show. All right, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to hit this quick commercial break, then we're going to come out of it. It'll be about 30 seconds, and then we're going to show your clip at OVW, and we're going to talk a little bit more about OVW.
Okay.
So we'll be right back after this quick message from L&L Fence Company.
L&L Fence Company, specializing in custom fencing from wood and aluminum to chain link. 9331 Albemarle Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. Give them a call today for your free estimate. 704-563-9544. L&L Fence Company, the king in custom fencing.
All right, and we are back. Hopefully my microphone's still working.
I hear you. It's just you sound really low.
Why
If you can
is
just turn it up, I'll be good. But you still sound clear.
Am I okay now?
I can understand. You're still low, but I can understand what you're saying. So
All right, let me see if I can.
now you're seeing. Now you're lower.
Yeah, because I was mumbling.
There you go.
Let me get in here to my sound and see if I could turn my microphone up.
You sound fine right there. But yeah,
Okay, yeah, my microphone's not all the way up. How's that? Is that
that's a lot better.
There we go. Now my microphone's on full blast. So there we go. All right, let's get to this. Before I lose my microphone altogether. This is a 36-second clip of Miss Olivia Devine coming out at the very first women's rumble at OVW, and she takes out, and I'll let her explain who she took out, but you got to watch this. This is pretty cool.
Olivia Devine making her debut. Not impressed with the women in the ring right now. Not impressed with Kobe Max, just tossed her down like a bad habit. Olivia Devine having none of it. Hold on. Olivia Devine looking to eliminate Kobe Max. Ooh. Kobe Max holding on, fighting desperately. No, you can't fight against that big punch in the face.
And there it is right there, without a doubt. So Olivia Max got, a right hand that had to hurt. I mean, she was down there. There we go. You hit her with a right hand that she's probably still feeling today.
She hit me first, but hey, look, it was business. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to get an opportunity for the title opportunity. That's what it was for.
Right. So how far did you get? How many people did you eliminate? Anybody else before you were eliminated, or did you?
I know she was the only one. By the time I got in there, all the other girls that was there before had already been eliminated.
Oh,
so it just came down to me and another girl. We fought, and then this guy, I think his name was Shannon. The guy comes out while me and her are fighting. I was about to eliminate her. I had her on my shoulders. I literally was trying to throw her over, and right when I was throwing her over, he just went from under me and flipped me over. I was like, me and her trying to get back in. We were so mad, and the referee said, "No, y'all eliminated." We got so upset, but our feet already touched the ground. We couldn't do nothing about it. He just laughed at us.
So you came that close to getting a championship shot at OVW.
It'd be like, it is what it is, Hopefully I'll have more opportunities to get it. But yeah, it just.
Now I saw you get in the ring, and the announcer made a point to say you were one of the, and I'm not talking fat by no means, but you were one of the biggest girls to get in the ring. I mean, you were, you're not small by any stature. I mean, guys would call it, stocky, if you will.
Yeah, I get called Amazon a lot,
But you take it as a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're not saying it to be mean,
Right.
As a woman, that's not something you necessarily want to hear, but I've also had to accept that I'm not a small woman at all. No matter how much weight I could possibly lose, I'm always gonna be bigger than a lot of girls. That's just kind of how it's always been. So I just take it in stride.
Right, without a doubt. Chris Mellon said, "Been a fan since the early days. Glad to see you're doing well. Keep kicking booty and taking names."
Absolutely. Yeah, he was from the before time before I got the high spots.
I got you. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, hey, we've all been there. I managed at a place that will not be named, and people called it a backyard, place, and it's okay. We've all been there, but you know what? I always say it this way: when people talk like that and down what you were doing or what I was doing, I always look and tell them, hey, the Hardy Boys started on a trampoline. Look where they're at.
Yeah, everybody's journey is different, and
Exactly.
things happen for a reason. Things happen the way they're supposed to. I even though I was there probably way longer than I should have been, I feel like I learned the lesson I need to learn. I was young when I was there. By the time I left, I was a grown woman. So, and even when I came to the new place, I still, every day you're learning no matter what. So, I mean, I'm still learning even up to this point. So it's just, I had to open up my eyes and realize that sometimes it's okay to walk away. It's okay to be loyal to yourself first before being loyal to people who are not even loyal to begin with anyway. That's just a hard lesson I had to learn.
Was it hard to strip back all that you had been taught to learn the right way? Do you still find yourself sometimes falling into bad habits?
No. In the beginning, I did. I did in the beginning. When I started at High Spots, all I knew was what I knew. And my first day, I had to learn how to just bumping was new. But the ring that I was in was soft. It was like the ring I was in before was hard. And I was so used to it, but when I bumped into that ring, I was like, oh, this is a bed as far as I'm concerned. It was soft. So, but I had to learn how to bump correctly. I had to learn how to run the ropes correctly. Like everything that I knew, it was almost similar, but it just wasn't correct or it wasn't safe. Like I had bad shoulders at the time because, where I was at. But what made me fall out of bad habits, because like when I people don't know my name as much just because I started in 2018 in March. And in 2019 in January, I got injured in one of my training sessions and I was out for 7 months.
Okay.
So honestly, after that 7 months, and that was a long time when I came, and that's the longest I've ever not been wrestling. So when I came back, it was like starting all over again almost. Like I didn't forget how to wrestle per se, but I forgot the other stuff.
Right.
The reason I kept falling backwards because I was so consistently doing it. Even though I had my new training, I did still find myself in my matches still doing the same stuff that just wasn't right. But because I stopped doing it for like 7 months, might not seem long, but it was a long time for me mentally. Right. So coming back, it was like I didn't even remember how to do any of that stuff. And once that happened, I started actually tapping into my correct, abilities. And ever since then, I haven't fallen back at all.
What match? Do you remember the time? Did it like click in your head during a certain match that now I got it? Now I'm not making the mistakes I used to make. Now I know I'm full steam ahead. Was there a match that comes to your mind?
My very first match coming back, it was in Georgia. And I told the girl, she was really, really nice. And I told her, my situation and everything. And luckily I was in front of a good worker. So being in front of a good worker, it makes it easier. So, she understood and we just, worked with it. And granted, even though I came back, I was still technically still green because I was still retrained regardless of how long I've been, I had to be retrained. So even though I came back from injury and I still could wrestle and do all that stuff, I was still slightly green regardless. So I performed green. I wasn't terrible, but you can tell that I was green. But I did realize that I wasn't going backwards. I realized I wasn't, it didn't hit me in that moment. It hit me when I watched it. When I realized, oh, okay, this is actually different from what I used to do. So I could tell my performance was growing. I could see the growth in it. I could see the change and the adjustments I made to be a better performer.
So being in the locker room, you mentioned she was a good worker. And being in locker rooms like that, I'm pretty sure you've come across, many women who are good workers like that. Have you sat down and picked their brains?
Not all of them are good workers. So
you know what I mean? Okay. When you find out, when you realize this person knows what they're talking about, or you've seen them before you actually got to wrestle.
A lot of places I go to, I typically try to go to places where I know people. I don't. There's not too many promotions I've been at where I didn't know anybody. So most promotions I go to, a lot of times they'll sit with me and tell me, hey, some people actually took time to watch my match, and I don't even know who they were. And they'll come to me and say, hey, I watched your match, and this is what I saw. I get told a lot that they see something in me. I've been told that a lot, and I just didn't see it in myself. So I guess because they saw how much I was trying and my determination, they will come up to me themselves and say, hey, we watched your match, and I'll get excited because I like when somebody's watching, because that means they're about to tell me something good or bad that I can work on. And they'll just tell me flat out, this, need work on this, or this was great, but maybe, wrong position, just different types of critiques that I would get.
So you love getting constructive criticism.
Yeah, because I personally feel like you can't grow, and you can't learn and grow if no one's telling you what you're doing wrong. How are you supposed to get better if you don't know what you're doing wrong? It's cool to, how I want to say it. I mean, it's cool to want to be yourself, and it's cool, but it depends on what you want. I'm not the type that wants to be complacent. So I can't get any better if no one's telling me, hey, you suck at this, I'm so used to it at this point because of where I came from, because they were harsher there, that the polite criticism I was getting did not faze me. I actually appreciated it because I know they were coming from a nice place, a good place.
Right. Alexander said, what's up, Scott? How you doing, Alex? My dad wants to know, do you train a lot?
When I honestly, after during the pandemic, I trained a little bit, and then I was in a really bad car accident. I almost died, and I was out for like 7 months. When I came back, I couldn't train but maybe once a week, just because my body was still, and me being stubborn as I am and determined, I tried it 2 days, and over time I found myself at 3 days, and then I went from 3 days to 4 days. I was just that determined.
Back up, basically.
Huh?
You had to build your stamina back up.
Not even just that, my body got tired faster just because my muscles and certain parts of my body was just weak. It was a long journey, but last year, was it last year I actually started, from 1 class to 4, and I just consistently did 4 the whole entire time. And up to this point, I try to do 3 to 4 a week if I can.
Right. Well, I have to tell you this. This is pretty cool. Darren, Mr. Pissoff Owen says, Compton Mania would love to have you. This is one of a couple of guys who run a show in California, right outside of Compton.
Oh, child.
They said they'd love to have you. Look at that.
It's a long flight and a long drive.
A long flight, a long drive. But let me tell you, them guys are worth it. They're a pretty cool company over there. But you're getting noticed, and that's what hashtag truth is all about. Now, what would you say in the last 4 years was your favorite match to be in? What was that one person that you got in there with, or persons, because you never know, it could be a multi-person match, where it just felt really good when you went in the locker room. You was like, dang, that felt good.
Honestly, in this 2 matches, and it goes right back to Urban Combat. My best 2 matches was with Cassandra Golden and Malachi Jeffries.
Yeah.
The only reason why I wrestled him was because another woman was supposed to be there, and she apparently thought the show was on a Saturday and it was on a Friday, so she ended up no showing. And Kozone was on that show that day, and Malachi came with him. And he just happened to be standing there when the promoter was like, hey, Olivia, we're trying to figure out what to do. Do you mind wrestling a guy? We're still trying to figure it out. I said, and Malachi just happened to be said, so I'll wrestle him because I know he's good. And I feel like that was one of the matches I had.
Because Malachi's slender and tall, and like I said, you're not a small woman by any means, and that's not a knock. That's I'm giving you a great compliment. That had to be a good match. I wish I could see.
They told us it was the best match on the card.
I could imagine.
They told us, and which was cool. Like I said, I really always want to work in front of people that can help me grow as a performer. They always say the only way you can get better is get in front of people that's better than you. That's so it. With him, and then even like I said with Cassandra Golding, she's probably one of the first few women that I've wrestled that was really good. She was so easy. She's really, really nice. And that's the first match that Shane has seen me before. And then I think he saw the one with Malachi before he, said, hey, OVW, Olivia, and got me on there. Those are I always reference those two matches because I feel like those are my best matches where I was at my best shape at the time when I had them.
So how far is the farthest right now that you've traveled to go to a match?
OVW. It was in Kentucky.
Yeah, that's a pretty good trip.
Outside of that, the longest. Well, I also wrestled in Augusta, Georgia. I think that was probably my longest prior to that. That's 2 hours and like 45, 50 minutes.
Right. So of all the places that you went, other than OVW, because OVW is big, that's a stepping stone. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but in the independent scene, where's the best place that you've wrestled in the last 4 years? And I know I don't want you to put anybody on the spot, but you just walked in and it was like, man, they had a great setup. The lights were on. I mean, the crowd was full capacity. It was banging. Where was that place that you'll never forget?
Honestly, it's several of them. I don't think I can name just one. Now, if you want me to name my very first one, probably APW Chester.
Okay. And do you remember who you wrestled that night?
I got put in a 6-man tag. It was me and Shay and William versus Billy Brash and International Superstars.
Oh wow! So you got to face Ellie.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever met her.
So how did that one go?
I mean, I was agreeing at the time. So, but they, it was what it was. But I wasn't terrible. But
Right.
they was able to work around me. They was able to, help me. And like I said, I didn't do terrible. I just know I'm a big critic of myself. So that's how I feel about myself. Now they told me I did fine, and they told me certain areas that I could work on, which I appreciated. But it was a really fun match, though. I really enjoyed it. But I learned a lot from just working with them. I got a lot of knowledge from all of them. So that was the first. So that's the first time I ever been at a show that I can think of at the top of my head where the setup was cool, the crowd was big, and that crowd's always into the matches and stuff like that. That's the first place I could think of my first time.
Now, in the last 4 years, and I know this has happened, what did it feel like when that first fan walked up to you and said, "Miss Devine, could I have your autograph?"
I was surprised because I didn't think anybody knew my name anyway. I was like, I'm a nobody. But it was a little girl. It was and I try not to throw race in it, but it's just what it is. It was a little black girl. Right. And her mother walked up to me and they said, "Hey, she want a picture with you." And I was a bad guy. So I was like, but I took the picture with her. She was happy. And I like the fact that she was happy just watching me. I guess whatever influence I gave her, I was happy with it.
Well, that's cool, man. And race aside, it doesn't matter what color they are, black, white, green, orange. You had a fan. You had somebody who looked up to you and went, wow. But
well, it matters to some degree because, as sometimes African Americans, you need somebody that you can look that looks like you. I guess because that's how I got into the business. I saw Booker T. He was feuding with Kurt Angle at the time, and his wife was involved. That's what I saw. Someone look like me. I was like, oh. I didn't forget wrestling was a thing. That's what got me into it. So my mindset immediately goes to that whenever a little black girl comes up to me. And again, I know girls gonna come up to me regardless because I'm still a woman at the end of the day. But sometimes the race does matter because you want somebody that you feel you can relate to. And I think that's the energy that I got when she came up to me.
And that's awesome. And I never thought about that. I never thought about the looking up and seeing, because the way you told your story today, and somebody's going to watch this, some kid's going to watch this and go, you know what? I can do it too. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing for everybody. I appreciate your candor and all this. I really do, because not a lot of superstars come on here, and I do consider you guys superstars. Not a lot of them come on here. I've had maybe, I could count probably on one hand how many people would actually be that candid with me. I'm
just an honest person. I have nothing to hide. I'm not scared of nobody, so I'm not worried about it.
There you go. Without a doubt.
I'm just a real person. It is what it is.
Well, we're going to hit a real quick commercial here from Retro Toys and Collectibles, and we're going to come back and we're going to tap into that. We'll be right back.
This is 4 Foot Batman. And 4 Foot Batman knows the home of great collectibles at awesome prices. Retro Toys and Collectibles, movie memorabilia, Magic the Gathering cards, wrestling figures, Hot Wheels, the always popular Funko Pops, and much, much more. He knows the Hall of Collectibles is located in downtown Cherryville, North Carolina, at 400 East Main Street. Give them a call today, 980-989-5181. Retro Toys and Collectibles, the heavyweight champion in collecting.
All right, we are back, and we are here with Olivia Devine. And she was telling us about having fans come up to her, and I asked her about her first autograph. And so you've been in the business for this long, 4 years of real training, as you would say. You've been on OVW, which is, it probably seems like a snap of a finger. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm already on OVW, which is a cool thing. Did they critique you there?
Yeah. I try not to name drop, nothing like that, but the person who runs it is Al Snow. And I just went up to him. I just grew some balls and went up to him and just asked him what he thought. And he broke it down. He gave me a lot of information. He told me I did great. And then he told me things I need to work on. And he helped me understand certain things that, I guess it's hard to explain without going in great detail, but like,
right.
Even when it comes to just who you are in the ring and how you sell who you are in the ring, and he was pretty much saying how you need to sell yourself like you're a product. How do you, what do you need to do to get people to want to buy you, who wants to see you,
He's trying to make you think about your brand.
Yeah, that's pretty much, and just how to also project your brand when I'm in the ring. How do you showcase yourself? It was stuff like that I kind of been told before. That I'm still trying to, I don't want to say I'm struggling, I'm just still trying to connect the dots. I have ADHD, so sometimes connecting the dots can be difficult for me. So, sometimes it takes more than one person to tap into me for me to realize, okay, that's what that means. So, that was what he told me was very informational. But yeah, everybody else just kept telling me how great I did. And I kept thinking I did horrible to actually watched it. But he's the one that gave me some critiquing about my performance. Which I was surprised he remembered, considering he watched pretty much the whole show. I'm surprised he even remembered that I was even in the ring at the time. So I was just shocked.
Remember, people that run shows like that, they're looking for the next, diamond in the rough. They were looking at you. Trust me, they were watching. It might not seem like it, but these guys make the money by telling the WWEs and the AEWs, hey, this kid's somebody to watch. So, they watch everybody.
Yeah.
Did you have and I don't want to know what it is, but again, you said he critiqued you. Al Snow did. He critiqued you for a little while. Did you have any question that Al Snow just kind of looked at you and went, you know the answer to that? Why are you asking me that?
No, because at my age, I don't like to ask stupid questions I know the answer to. I don't do that no more. Like, I try not to. Not unless I'm just trying to, BS somebody because I don't want to deal with it. But no, I don't. I take what I do very seriously, and when I ask for somebody to critique me, I take that very seriously. So I'm not going to sit here and waste your time asking a stupid question I know the answer to, because I might ask a question I might know the answer to see if you like. I'm not going to ask the question I know the answer to per se, but I might ask what can be added on to what I already know, or if there's something I can know different. But I'm not going to ask a question I blatantly know the answer to. That makes no sense to do that. That's a waste of time. And honestly, it's kind of insulting. So. Especially that's a legend. I'm not going to insult his intelligence by asking a question that I already know the answer to. That's just kind of how I view it.
There you go. Ron Emerson said exactly what I was going to say. To take advice or a compliment from Al Snow has to be an incredible feeling. It had to be. Were you a little awestruck when you were standing there with Al Snow?
It's weird. I'm not the type to get starstruck like that. Like it was exciting and I was a little nervous. I was like, I don't. And he was, he's just like any promoter who's just busy. He was I was worried just getting his attention just to talk to him, because I always get nervous talking to any promoter because I know when the show's over with, everybody's trying to go home. Everybody's trying to clean. You're trying to tear down, put up. He's trying to look for people. because they have a big staff production. They had a lot of stuff going on. So he's just running around. So I was just grateful that he was willing to stop. He literally stopped whatever he was doing, if he was even doing anything at all, just to take that time to talk to me for like 10 minutes. I think it might have been about 10 minutes. I don't think it was too terribly long, but he took that
It
time.
probably felt like a long time because you were talking to Al Snow. I mean,
Yeah, but yeah, it was, once he talked to me, I felt comfortable. I didn't feel like I was saying something stupid. He didn't make me feel it. He even in the ring when he went over everything before the show started, he said there's no such thing as a stupid question. So even if I would have asked a dumb question, he would have answered it. That's how comfortable he made me feel. I felt comfortable asking him anything. I felt comfortable just listen to him tell me, what I need to work on, what could I have done better. It was like I was talking to somebody I already knew. Like it's like talking to a trainer that I've been training with, even though that was the first I've ever met him that day.
that is a really cool feeling. Now I have to tell you this before I put this up on the screen. My dad watches every hashtag truth that I put up, and he doesn't like a lot of wrestlers. But look what he put. Must have this lady back on. Great person.
There's so many people watching the show.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of people watching the show right now.
What's the number?
You don't want to know. You might kind of get excited or scared or run away. I don't want you to do that.
Sounds like a low number, but it's okay. It's all good.
No. Actually, I'll tell you the truth. At the end of this, at the end of this night, and by the end of the week, we'll have over 5,000 views on this video.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. So it gets out. I have, and this is not me bragging at all. It's just the honest to God's truth. I have about 10 to 15 promoters that watch this show on a regular basis.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's what I love. And some of them are not even in the state, as you can see. You just saw Mr. Darren pop up from California. But it's just kind of cool that, and that's what hashtag truth is all about for me. If you're wondering what my part in this is and why I asked you on the show, because I saw you on OVW. I've seen you at a couple of places out on the road. And when you said yes, it excited me because not a lot of women want to come on and talk about wrestling. And it's the truth. I think you're only the third woman I've ever had on the show.
Well, probably because some podcasts that I've been reached out to several people to do podcasts, and the problem is some of them are just fans that are creeps.
Right.
And so they're not familiar with you. They're probably not going to want to do a podcast. Either that, they've done so many of them that they don't want to. Because I know one woman told me she done so many of them she didn't, because she felt like she was just answering the same questions over and over again. So it could either be that, or they might not be familiar with you, or maybe they just hate podcasts. I don't know. I've only done. I think it's the first real one.
To do it, get out of the business. I love what I do. I love putting people over. I'm here to put you in the spotlight. That's what my whole being is on hashtag truth. That's why I asked the question. And when you reveal something to me, that's what puts more questions in my head. Like a little while ago, you said you had, was it ADD?
ADHD.
ADHD. Okay. ADHD. And that caught my ear. And I was going to ask you about that in the last segment, but we're going to go ahead and do it now. Does that form any problems when you're wrestling?
It doesn't as much as it used to. Around the time that I had my knee injury, I'm pretty sure a lot of wrestlers have gone through this. Like when you're injured and you're out for a long period of time, it can become depressing.
Yes.
And I found myself getting depressed, and I decided to go see a therapist, and just to kind of keep myself motivated and get my mind out of the dark place and everything. And I've always kind of knew I had it, but because my parents knew I had it, but they were just stubborn. They just felt like they basically told me they just felt I needed to pay more attention, which that's what that is. You can't. So I wasn't medicated throughout my whole childhood, so that was a huge struggle, and I had to learn how to cope around it because it was difficult. I'm not a stupid woman, but my grades will never show that because it was hard.
Right.
And even when I was 23, I decided to go to a psychologist just to confirm it on paper and everything, because I was in college and everything, and it confirmed. He said, "Yeah, you definitely have it." But
this is amazing. Wait a minute, I have to interrupt you. You just said you're in college, or you were in college?
I was in college. Yeah, I was in college after I graduated. I was in college halfway through my career.
That's beautiful. Keep
I went.
going.
As a matter of fact, I went twice.
That's and see, a normal person would give up with ADHD. A normal person, and that just you just let a ton of promoters out there know you're not a quitter.
No,
Just
the background, my background that I didn't have the best upbringing, so I didn't have no choice. You know, people sometimes look at me and think, oh, she's pretty, so things were handed to me. I'm saying right now, I got it out the mud. That ain't how that was at all.
I
So,
love it.
you know, yeah, I put myself through college twice. Nobody helped me finance. I'm still paying on one of them right now. So no, I was still in school trying to, because you still got to work. I got to pay these bills. So
I mean, you're an independent wrestler. You got to have a shoot job. Let's be real about it. You got to have a shoot job. But for you to, you were working, going to school, and like you said, ADHD. I mean, I don't know about any of the rest of your life, but if you were single, that adds to it. I mean, it's just I love to hear that. That lets me know as a fan that you're a hard worker and that you probably work just as hard in your wrestling career.
I had to work harder because of it. But the thing is, I finally just when I turned I ain't about to sit here and age myself, but after about a few years, I finally decided to swallow my pride because I was always the type why fix something that's not broken because I got so used to coping. But when I left the old place I was at and started at High Spots,
Right.
It was a lot of new stuff I was taking that I didn't know. Everything was like I didn't know. So it's like I was taking it so much at once. And part of ADHD is that your brain can only process with so much at a time. So I was forgetting, like I was struggling. Like the first year or some change, I was struggling because I could not comprehend fast enough. I didn't understand. And I was too afraid to ask because I was bullied when I was younger, when I would ask for help or even, so I was always afraid to ask for help. I would just say, you know what, I'll figure it out. It would just take me longer to do it, but I would figure it out. But I finally decided to swallow my pride and get medicated. And once I got medicated, that made a huge difference. Like I know people will say, oh, some people don't believe in it. Some people think it's, I don't.
I have manic depression. I take 4 medicines for my depression. So wow. I understand that part about not wanting to tell everybody and do what you got to do and get your way through some things. So I'm kind of putting some of my personal stuff out there, but in that way I understand because I don't want. Well, now they do know, but there's only my real friends knew that until right now. But you're being so open and honest about it that
I'm not afraid to do that anymore. I'm an advocate of who I am, and also I shared it on my Facebook all the time. And then people that in the wrestling business or just people that I've known will flat out will start talking about it. They'll feel comfortable because I made them feel comfortable, or maybe they're in a place in their life where they feel comfortable. I'm not about to hide it anymore and pretend I'm somebody that I'm not. I am who I am. I'm going to struggle. I want to ask questions. If I didn't get it the first 10 times, if you care, you'll tell me the 11th time. I'm not about to pretend to be something I'm not. So I'm an advocate on that. I always said that one day I want to open up what's the word I want to say? I want to open up a foundation for not ADHD, but more for that targeted women because women tend to go undiagnosed a lot more. So, and as adults, it becomes harder for us because we're women. It's always, oh, she's being dramatic or is always something negative and nothing helpful. So I just wanted to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So I'm just very open about it more now than I ever been.
Let me say this. I know I'm not the first one to ever tell you this, but I love the fighter in you. That is so awesome to hear. Now, I told you that I had some promoters that watched the show. I think you might know this guy. This is Brian Kwiatkowski. He's from PWX. He said Olivia Devine trained well and has a good head on her shoulders, getting those reps and building her brand. There you go.
Oh, thanks, Brian.
Without a doubt. And he said, yes, hi.
He's cool. I like Brian.
Oh,
that's actually one of my biggest goals is I want to be on PWX one day because I really like that promotion. Everybody's nice. I can tell based off the people they book that there's a lot of knowledge back there. So hopefully I one day get to be on there. That's why I've been working hard. Like I want my hard work to pay off so good that he's like, let's put her on there real quick. So I'm trying to get good. I don't want to be up there and messing up now. I gotta be my best.
Brian don't play. Brian will tell you one way or the other, without a doubt. Ron Emerson said, dedication and drive. Go Olivia.
Thank you.
And Joey Nugg said, "Greeting, wrestling family. How you doing, Joey? Welcome to Hashtag Truth." We're sitting here having a great conversation with Olivia Devine. We kind of got off the track of wrestling, but it all does tie back into wrestling.
I do that a lot. My bad. That's part of my ADHD. But it always circles back. I promise. I always come back.
It does, because like you said, you had to learn how to use your ADHD in your wrestling. And I'm pretty sure you haven't told everybody until now, probably, that you had that. And now
I tell my trainers, I don't want to come off like a victim. So
Right.
I just because of what I've been through, that's just the mindset that I have.
Miss Devine, you're not a victim. The reason why I say that is because you just said right now, you are doing whatever it takes to get yourself through that. And you just got on OVW. That is something that thousands of girls out there who probably have ADHD or or maybe doesn't have the drive to get to OVW is looking at you and going, this girl's got this, and this, and she made it. Whoa, okay, I can do this. And that's what I love about listening to that story.
Yeah, I'm all about growth. Like, I know when I first started training with High Spots, I was a very awkward person. Like, I was so awkward that people could say hi to me and I just would stare at them. And I hate that. A lot of us are like that. I hate it because when a guy's awkward, the people just kind of look past it. When a woman's awkward, it's like, and I was just that bad. So I actually took the time when I was recovering from my knee injury to actually figure out what was causing me to be that way. And that's when I realized it was just childhood traumas and just not having the confidence in myself. Just trying to, once I started relearning myself, that's why right now, as we speak, you would never know that because I worked on myself. I'm very big on working on myself in every aspect, not just even in wrestling, because I realize all that stuff ties in with each other. So now I can speak to people. I mean, I might still be nervous because I'm human, but I'm not going to be so awkwardly uncomfortable anymore. I'm going to talk to you and not be make you feel uncomfortable.
And I've only talked to you for 51 minutes now, and already I want to come see you at your next show. So speaking of that, tell the audience right now where they can find Olivia Devine. If they're a promoter or a fan or anybody else, how can we find Olivia Devine?
I have Facebook, just Olivia Devine on Facebook. I have a wrestling page and a regular page. I also have Twitter and Instagram. It's Olivia Devine Pro.
Okay, there you go. Without a doubt. Yeah, I love that. I've got to do one more quick commercial. Then we're going to come back and we're going to do our last segment with Olivia Devine. If you guys have a question out there, I know you're watching because I see all these other statements up here. If you got a question for Olivia, this would be the time to give it. We'll be right back after this quick, funny commercial from one of my good friends. We'll be right back.
Colace knows going number 2 can sometimes feel like you pinched off a porcupine, wrestled out a wrecking ball, pushed through a pineapple or 2, tried to pass an elephant, rolled out a watermelon, strained until you turned a shade of ooh. When pooping is painful, rely on doctor-recommended Colace to soften that stool and make it easier to go. With no stimulants. Colace, for a number 2 that's easy to do.
Thanks, Colace.
That was Luchador the Wrestler from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, EFED. I love that commercial. I'm sorry, it's just funny to me. But we're here with Olivia Devine, and this is our last segment, guys. So if you have any questions, please get them up here. A lot of people, I am awesome. Okay, I'm glad you are. Much respect to women's wrestling. Okay. Dad said, a go-getter, not give me, love you. Not give me. In other words, you don't take handouts. Stay focused. A lot of great wrestlers are getting noticed from the Carolinas. So, what is it? This is kind of a dumb question. It's kind of a setup question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Your goal is to make it to AEW, WWE, correct?
Yeah.
So
that's always my dream.
Always. Now, I mean, it's beautiful, but a lot of people don't make it. And here you are, redone your life, redone everything, like you said, 4 years of really good training, gotten up to OVW. What is the next step for Olivia Devine?
Well, for one thing, try to get back on VW, but I want I'm still working on that. But I mean, I have a lot of different goals. I'm trying to lose more weight because I feel like my weight sometimes hold me back in my performance. And not just that, I know I'm going to run to promoters that might look at me and say, we don't like her body. I don't know. But I'm trying to get my weight off, trying to get in better shape so I can, perform better. I want to, eventually get on AEW. And it seems like it's easy to do that. But I always feel like if I'm going to get on a platform like that, I need to be at my best. And me being the biggest critique that I am, I don't feel like I am, even though people might tell me different. I feel like I could be just a little bit better. So I just want to keep going.
Your biggest critic, but let me tell you something, and this is just from a fan and me. I've seen you in person twice, and don't change a thing. I'm telling you. The way you look, the way you come in, I understand if you want to lose a few pounds, but don't make the people up in WWE make you 120 pounds and not yourself, because Olivia Devine is who you are. Right now, when I look at Olivia Devine and I see you walk into a ring, and a lot of times you play heel, at least the 2 times I saw you, you played heel, and you're a monster. I mean, without any makeup, without a mask on, you come in and you're a legit monster in that ring.
I have makeup on now. I still got to look cute no matter who I'm beating up.
But you don't have it all over your face.
Yeah, I don't have like face paint stuff now.
Right.
Well, I mean, I've been told because of my size, that's what I should be doing. So I just go up there and beat people up. That's what I've been told to do. So like, okay.
And it is great. And I'm not telling you that just to, blow smoke up your butt. I'm being honest. The 2 times I've seen you in person was probably the favorite matches that I saw that day. So Taylor, I like this. We got Taylor comes on and said, I love seeing Olivia's posts on Facebook. She always makes such good inspirational posts about loving and taking care of yourself.
Oh, yeah. I'm all about peace and protecting it because that's something I had to learn. I feel like during the pandemic, a lot of people had to learn a lot of things about themselves, and that definitely was me. So that's why I try to post as much positive stuff as I can, even when I'm having bad days. And I've had people in the past tell me that the stuff that I post inspired them. So I always try to my best to, I like inspiring people, and sometimes inspiring people inspires me. So that's just.
I'm gonna have to keep looking on your Facebook page because I already told you I'm a manic depressant. So I'm gonna have to keep looking. That's a definite.
It's very rare that you're gonna see me post anything negative. Or, maybe if it's maybe considered negative, it might just be just informational. But I try not to post a lot of hateful stuff. I'm not into posting hate.
I got you. Who influenced you in the business? Who got you into wrestling? I think is what James is trying to ask. What got you into wrestling?
Like I said, when I was living in Rock Hill, I was probably in the 8th grade, 9th grade. And I was just, trying to find something to watch. I was in a dark space. I was dealing with a lot of personal things at the time. And, I was bullied a lot when I was younger, even though I've always been big, but because I'm not confrontational, I'm not a bully. I don't fit that stigma that I'm expected to be. People saw me as weak, so they started bullying me. So I just always, felt challenged all the time. And then I came across wrestling, and like I said, I saw Booker T's wife, and even though she wasn't like the big time wrestler, just seeing her on there, I just thought she's tough. She had, she was built, and then I see the 2 guys, and I don't know, just something about seeing that, it just had me hooked. And then I started seeing more women, and I started seeing Trish Stratus and Lita and all the women that was there at the time. And it just got me motivated and inspired. And I just, when I turned about 18 years old, I was trying to find schools, which at the time was kind of hard versus now there's a lot of them and a lot of good ones. But at that time, I started in like 2009. It wasn't a lot.
Wow, you got a lot of people. Taylor said, just getting to tune in, going to rewatch it once it's over and post it so I can see it from the beginning. Thank you, Taylor. I appreciate that. Oh, the other promoter from Compton Mania, Deshaun Watkins. There he is. He said, hey, I think that's his way of saying hi. Deshaun's a good friend of mine. We all do a thing called E-Fed Wrestling, and we all have our characters, and he is actually a promoter for a real wrestling company, but he does the E-Fed thing with us too. So he's a really good guy. James said, I'm a promoter that owns CCW Colliery Championship Wrestling from the UK. I would love to be a guest one day. Hope you all can check us out. We are very heavy on storylines and storytelling. Thanks a lot. All right, James, I will hit you up after I have my surgery, and I'll be making that announcement here in just a minute or two. And James wants to know, who was your role model? Was it? I think he's asking the same question over and over again. But do you have a different role model?
Talking about in wrestling or just in general?
In general, let's go with in general since we've been talking about.
Honest with you, no.
No?
I never really had any role models growing up at all. Like I said, my background wasn't the best. I don't have role models. I will say this, that what got me motivated to leave where I was at, like I said, I don't like the name drop, but I met Savannah Evans probably 4 years into me wrestling when she was starting out. She was really nice. And I met her at one time and then forgot about her. And I guess when she started getting noticed and popular, I forgot we were even Facebook friends. And when I started seeing her, it actually made me realize, okay, even though I'm a woman, I can do this. I can do more. So I never told her this, but yeah, that she actually motivated, just seeing her get out there and seeing her face and her pictures and her drive. And, I remember I seen one of her first matches and stuff. So it was, seeing her on Facebook and growing and just even to where she's at now, even still that motivates me to work hard because she had to work hard to get where she's at. But that was one of the first pivotal steps for me taking to leave where I was at to be at where I'm at now.
Savannah Evans, you had to mention her name, the one that got away. I saw her probably a half a dozen times in independent wrestling and never asked her to be on my show. And now she's doing Impact Wrestling. Now she's really, like you said, sky's the limit for Savannah. I love watching her.
In general, I like the fact that there's more opportunities for us versus when I started, it wasn't a whole lot of them. If you didn't look like a Barbie doll, you weren't getting very far. Right. But now you can look like anything as long as you can move and, be safe and whatever it is that they're looking for, the opportunities, the sky's the limit for us women.
I think I'm saying her name right. If Congo Kong can make it very popular, anybody can. She was a big girl. She, wasn't the best looking woman in the world, but she was one heck of a wrestler.
Awesome Kong?
Awesome Kong. Yeah, I think what did I say? Conga Kong? That's a guy wrestler. Anyway, Awesome Kong. Yes.
I was a fan of hers. I really like, especially when she was on Impact with Gail Kim, and they had they were the best.
That was a tremendous feud. Little Gail Kim and big old Awesome Kong. That was some of the greatest matches. You are right. Oh, James wants to know, the big question is, would Olivia Devine stand a chance with the late great Chyna? Take my money, please. I would have loved to have seen that match.
She kind of strong, so I don't know. I mean, I would have done it though.
Without a doubt. All right, guys. Well, I've taken up an hour of your time, ma'am, and I appreciate you being on here. I appreciate you opening up and speaking candidly with us. This has been one of my favorite interviews of this year so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. It's probably, I had to do another one like the day before, so I'm not to say that wasn't fun either, but this was I really did enjoy this one as well. We just didn't have people talking and asking questions in the other one I did a few days ago.
Okay. Well, I try. We try. Like I said, we get a good amount of views, and I hope the promoters out there took a good look at Olivia Devine, and I hope you get some phone calls from this. And look at here, we're gonna have the Rolls Royce of wrestling on pretty soon. He said, "How y'all gonna wait until Bruno comes on to leave?" Well, you need to get
on another promotion like in next week.
Yeah,
you know what time it started.
You got to get that Rolex fixed, brother. That's all I got to say to you. Apparently, that Rolex is broken. All right, without a doubt. So I'm gonna end it this way: Olivia Devine, OVW. Go check it out. I know it's somewhere on the internet. You can find it. She was in the very first OVW Women's Royal Rumble. She did great. She at least eliminated one. You got to go watch it to see what else happened. And I can't wait to have her back on the show. Please come back again to #Truth. And again, I want to tell everybody before I leave that I am totally booked between now and February 11th. that's where things are going to have to stop for a few minutes. I'm going to be going in to have my surgeries. As soon as I heal up, hashtag truth will be right back on the air. I'm not going to give a date because I don't know. It's only the only one that knows is God Almighty up there when I'm going to be able to come back. So thank you guys. All prayers are welcome, please. I'm very scared of this, but the 11th will be my last day. When you see me interviewing Cole Maccabee, you know that the day is coming. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you're trying to get on the show, get with me after you see the relaunch of hashtag truth after February the 11th. Thank you very much. Olivia, have a great night. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great night. We'll see you Friday.